This is the Bay Area's news station. KRON 4 News at 5 starts now.
It's primary day in California, and even though Hillary Clinton has now clinched enough delegates to secure the Democratic presidential nomination, Bernie Sanders is not giving up. Both the AP and our media partners at CNN report that Clinton has acquired the 2,383 delegates needed for the nomination.
In a tweet last night, Clinton mentioned the report, and she said that she was flattered, but she still has primaries to win. Meantime, Sanders is still vowing to win in California and says he's going to assess his campaign after today. On the Republican side, presumptive nominee Donald Trump has already clinched the number of delegates needed for the nomination. Good morning. I'm Daria Folsom.
And I'm Mark Dannon. We have you covered all morning with primary updates throughout the day, and we'll have team coverage with more on the voting today to help you get out to the polls. But first, an update on Bay Area weather and traffic.
It's always a big deal, and getting to the polls or not, weather, nothing in your way, right?
Yeah, if you're a morning voter, you'll be dealing with some drizzle perhaps and some fog, particularly along the peninsula. Here's a snapshot of Oakland, which you can expect. We'll see some clearing skies into the afternoon, it looks like. Starting off about 59 up to about 70 come 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock at 69. A west wind at 5 to 15, so that'll provide a little bit of a chill. Meanwhile, the Giants game, if you're taking in entertainment, versus the Red Sox today, 7:15 game time. We're to call it somewhat partly cloudy, turning that way into this evening, upper 50s for your temps. There's that chilly breeze, though, 15 to 25. And your daily planner by noon. It's cloudy still at the coast. Then by 3 o'clock, warm inland. By 5 o'clock, we'll still see it kind of cool at the bay and the coast. The bay temperature is already dipping into the upper 60s. We'll let you know in your 7-day forecast of a cooling trend. Right now, Robin's standing by with traffic.
All right, I'm checking traffic at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza heading into San Francisco. It's looking good right now because it's quiet. No major hot spots. A nice little steady flow of traffic here through the tolls. So if you're about to use it, it's going to be a good ride across the upper deck into downtown. Nothing to worry about right now. Checking the East Bay, 580 West. It's a quick 10-minute drive from Vasco coming out of Livermore heading to the Dublin interchange. It's open and clear. 680 looks good, but the usual crawl through Tracy and the Altamont. I'll take a look at the San Mateo Bridge coming up in my next report. Daria, Mark.
Thanks a lot. And now on to Decision 2016. Team coverage this morning of the California primary, so get ready as you head to the polls today.
Will Tran live in San Francisco at City Hall. Avery Harper is live at Sanders headquarters in Oakland. We have Teresa Stasio at the Contra Costa Registrar of Voters in Martinez. And James Fletcher has coverage of the major measures and propositions on the ballot. Let's start with Will.
Breaking news I want to pass along to you. We have just learned over the past hour that Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi is endorsing Hillary Clinton for president. That could be a major and possibly final blow for Bernie Sanders, who at this point is refusing to give up, even though you talked about Hillary Clinton claiming having enough delegates to claim the nomination for the Democratic Party. Let's show you video of Hillary Clinton. The Clintons have been in California for the past couple of days. President Bill Clinton, former President Bill Clinton, was in the Bay Area yesterday. His wife Hillary, former Secretary of State, was in Long Beach campaigning. Even though they have won the nomination, at this point, Hillary Clinton is not celebrating. In fact, she believes this could hurt her chances because voter turnout could be lower because now people realize that she's gotten the nomination, that they might not turn out, and Bernie Sanders could end up winning California. And at that point, Bernie Sanders could make a case to the superdelegates that to elect him to represent the Democratic Party. While in Long Beach, we got a chance to track down Hillary Clinton. Here's what she has to say about another major endorsement.
Obviously, I'm excited about having the president's support because I have said throughout this campaign, I was honored to serve in the president's cabinet as his Secretary of State. I don't think he's gotten the credit he deserves for saving our economy from the great recession that it was experiencing when he became president. I want to continue and further the progress that we've made.
So you just heard her talk about President Barack Obama endorsing her. And then again, we've just learned over the past hour, breaking news, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, is also endorsing Hillary Clinton. The polls behind me should open in a couple of hours. We will talk to the people who will turn out. But again, the breaking news this morning is that Hillary Clinton is racking up support from a lot of key Democrats this morning. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Will. We'll check in with you later.
All right, let's go now to KRON 4's Avery Harper as our coverage continues. She's at Bernie Sanders headquarters in Oakland. Avery?
Yeah, even though many are calling Hillary Clinton the nominee, Bernie Sanders and his staff are still working for each and every vote throughout our state. Take a look at some of this video that we have of Bernie Sanders here yesterday. He's been making the last push to get voters out to the polls for him by addressing supporters all over the Bay Area. You're looking at video of Sanders yesterday in San Francisco. Now, Sanders has lagged behind Hillary Clinton in the delegate count for much of the race. Clinton leads Sanders by more than 3 million cast votes, by 291 pledged delegates, and by 523 super delegates. Sanders has 21 primary victories. Still, he says do not count him out. Listen to what he said to supporters yesterday in Emeryville.
We're speculating before what is, in fact, the most important primary. Tomorrow, we have 475 pledged delegates coming up. And my job in the next 24 hours is to do everything that I can to win those delegates.
Now, some of Sanders' campaign staff just arrived here at his campaign headquarters in Oakland, and we'll be here throughout the morning with updates for you. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, Avery. We'll check back with you.
And now we want to go live to Ground 4's Teresa Estacio. She's at the Contra Costa Registrar of Voters office in Martinez, and the polls open there in a couple hours at 7 a.m. Hi, Teresa.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it's only 5 a.m. right now, but they're still kind of busy behind me this morning, and that is because here in Martinez at the registrar's office, they expect a very good turnout today. In fact, we've got some numbers that we'll share with you in just a minute. I was told that this office was very busy yesterday as they were fielding many calls from voters. They wanted to make sure that everything was in place so that they could come down here today and cast a vote in this primary election where they can weigh in on who they want to see in the general election for President of the United States. Here's an interesting fact for you. In November of 2014, the turnout was 30%. This year, it's expected to be double that at 60% turnout. We're going to be going inside and talking to the registrar and show you how they are doing everything to make sure that there is smooth sailing and all the votes are counted properly. Again, the polls open at 7 a.m. and they close at 8 p.m. Here in Martinez, Teresa Estacio, back to you guys.
All right, thanks a lot. We'll be checking with Teresa and all of our live crews throughout the morning.
Yeah, let's go to James Fletcher right now. He's keeping track of all the major propositions and measures on the ballot today. James?
Yeah, good morning, guys. So let's take a look at Measure AA. This is a proposition, a measure that's on the ballot in every Bay Area county. Across the Bay Area, this will be on your ballot, doesn't matter where you live. Here's an explanation of the measure. It's a $12 per year parcel tax measure with revenue that's earmarked for the restoration of wetlands surrounding the San Francisco Bay. You've probably seen ads for this all around. The tax would be in place for about 20 years and raise $500 million to restore the tidal marshes across the Bay Area. Supporters will tell you the wetlands are important for a number of reasons beyond the fact that millions of birds call them home. They filter sediment and chemicals from the water, and they help prevent flooding. Benefits, they say, we will enjoy for generations to come.
Great. Well, the important thing about Measure AA is that it represents a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation at least, opportunity for Bay Area residents to unite with one voice to leave the San Francisco Bay a better place for our children and grandchildren than how we found it.
Yeah, those opposed to the measure, though, argue the parcel tax puts the entire financial burden on home and property owners instead of spreading it among all Bay Area residents. It also charges the same amount no matter how far away you live from the Bay. They think that's not fair. Again, this is Measure AA. It'll appear on ballots in all 9 Bay Area counties, so look for it and make your decision. Coming up at 5:15, I'll break down Measure A in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. It's a bond measure that totals almost $1 billion. It's something to think about. Daria?
All right, thanks a lot, James. And stick with Cron 4 for our primary election coverage all morning long. We've got you covered here on the Cron 4 Morning News, and we'll have the latest for you as well on the results as they start coming in across the country and here in California. That's at 5 p.m. tonight, our first evening newscast. There is growing outrage this morning over the case of the former Stanford student convicted of sexually assaulting an unconscious woman. Critics say his 6-month jail sentence was not enough. A jury unanimously convicted Brock Turner on 3 felony counts last week. Last January, 2 other Stanford students saw Turner on top of an unconscious woman. The DA asked for a 6-year prison sentence, but the judge decided on not 6 years, but 6 months. Now, more than 160,000 people have signed a petition calling for that judge's removal. There are also concerns that the ruling may deter victims of sexual assault and rape from coming forward in the future.
Of a judgment such as this that sort of flies in the face of all evidence, I think that's when people become hesitant because they're afraid of what they're going to have to go through and their family's going to go through.
The judge who issued the sentence is up for re-election today, but he's running unopposed.
And we're learning more about the death of a man who shot 2 Fremont police officers last week. The Alameda County Coroner's Office saying Gerald Villabrea shot himself in the head. Police found his body in the closet of a burnt home in Fremont after an hours-long standoff and fire at that home. During the standoff, police fired tear gas and the home caught on fire. Meantime, one of the officers who was shot is still in critical condition this morning, and the other is improving.
To the Stanley Cup final, and the Sharks could not get it done at home last night. It was Game 4 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Sharks were behind the entire game. They weren't even able to get on the board until the 3rd period. Sharks went on to lose by a final of 3-1. And so now they're trailing in the series 3-1. Their next game is on the road this Thursday, and the Sharks must win if they want to keep their Stanley Cup hopes alive. Puck drops at 5 p.m. in Pittsburgh.
And still at the Chrome 4 Morning News, a young boy recovering after he was stabbed inside an East Bay bank. We'll tell you what led up to the stabbing. And later, concerns on the Stanford University campus after a man went into 2 dorm rooms while the students inside were sleeping. Find out how he got inside. And then after the break, Tropical Storm Colin making landfall in Florida, bringing strong winds and heavy rain. We're tracking the tropical storm.
And we're getting a little bit of an onshore flow here on our coast, but much more benign in terms of that. Just some cloud cover and cooler temperatures. There you have it right now. We're at 58 Richmond, 59 Oakland. Clouds hanging around the bay, though, a little bit longer than today than yesterday. I'll have that forecast. Robin.
I'm tracking the commute, and it's looking pretty good. A live look here at the San Mateo Bridge. It's a nice ride heading to the peninsula. No major trouble spots for 92. I'll take a look at the Richmond-San Rafael Bridge coming up after the break.
Welcome back to the Chrome 4 Morning News. Watching Tropical Storm Colin making landfall in the Florida Panhandle and now raking the Carolinas. It's bringing high winds and heavy rain. This is a new video into the Chrome 4 newsroom this morning, showing the flooding caused by the tropical storm. The sustained winds around 50 miles per hour right now, and it is moving fast to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. It's expected to keep moving in that direction through today. Colin is expected to bring 6 inches of rain across Florida, Georgia, and the Carolinas. And some places could get as much as 10 inches of rain. Let's go to the Weather Center.
Yeah, let's take a closer look at it now with Dave.
Yeah, good news is it's the threat to land is really minimizing, and this system looks like it's going to fall apart within the day. So say the folks at the National Hurricane Center. Let's get another close shot of it here. There you can see that's that blob in the southeast we're talking about. Look at the west side of the storm system, though, how clear it is, particularly going through northern Florida right now. Very typical with these systems. On the west side, you have falling air, so it almost acts as a high pressure sometimes. It's really the east side of these storm systems. Sometimes it could be more problematic. Let's go and follow its track, though, real quickly. Still a tropical storm. Max winds at 50, moving very quickly to the northeast at about 30 miles per hour. Already by 11 o'clock tonight, you can see all the way it's off to the coast of New Jersey. Probably by that point, the effects will be somewhat minimal and losing its strength as we go into the overnight tonight. It becomes, as you can see, a low pressure system there, going also over colder water there. So as far as a player on the East Coast, right now in the next maybe 6 hours is when it's going to have the most widespread effects. Let's get back to our coast in terms of those winds. Here we have them jumping to the teens. I did mention this earlier, onshore flow providing a cooling effect. In addition to this cloud cover, we're going to really have to fight through in many areas of the bay today. We see the upper teens at work here all the way out to about Wednesday. Remember, this is a saga of cooling just about all week long. How do those temperatures fare? The 90s, struggling to get them in the Sacramento Valley. You can see the cool down tonight, getting a lot of real estate well in the business of the 50s. And then for tomorrow's performance, Very hard to find the 90s. They're going to be all the way out in the Sacramento Valley in little stray spots. Basically, it's going to be the 80s for most of the Far East Bay, and then for along the East Bay shoreline, we've got even chilly 60s expected. For highs today, it looks like the East Bay shoreline from the lower 70s to the lower 80s. Potentially, again, a lot's going to depend on clearing, and then over the hills, you can see temperatures pretty much in the mid 80s for high temperatures, maybe some upper 80s at that. I want to bounce real quickly to the 7-day forecast, show you the trend downward and cooler. Right now, as far as getting more busy, I suspect, on area roads, right, Robin?
Yeah, but it's smooth and at the limit. No major slowdowns right now. For those of you who have to get over to the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge this morning, a live look here at traffic approaching the toll plaza. It's wide open. No problems heading into the North Bay. Leaving the North Bay, heading into San Francisco, you're right across the Golden Gate. That's going to be a good one. The zipper truck has already switched around the lane configuration, so 4 lanes south coming from the North Bay, and it's looking pretty good right now. All right, let's check your drive times. Highway 4, a quick 13 minutes heading west from Antioch, or Hillcrest rather, in Antioch to 242 in Concord. It's jammed through the Altamont, but looks pretty good through the Livermore Valley from Vasco to the Dublin interchange, only 10 minutes. And leaving the South Bay, North 101 from the 85 split coming out of South San Jose, I don't see any major problems right now heading through downtown or Sunnyvale. It's only 17 minutes for the total drive. And here's a wider view of the South Bay, 237, 680, the Guadalupe Parkway, 17, all checking in hotspot free. Mark, Daria.
All right, thank you, Robin. More coverage of today's California primary right now.
James Fletcher is keeping track of all the major propositions and measures that you will see on the ballot today. So let's take a look, James.
All right, and there's lots to go through. In this update, we're going to talk about Measure A. It's on the ballot in Alameda and Contra Costa counties. And here's an explanation of what you need to know about it. It would authorize $950 million, that's nearly $1 billion, in bonds to repair and upgrade school facilities there at Chabot Las Positas Community College. To repay those bonds, property owners are going to have to pay about $24.50 for every $100,000 in assessed property value. So if your home's worth $1 million, you're looking at about a $245 bill each year. So that's something to consider as you're at the ballot box today. The measure needs a 55% supermajority to pass. Anything less than that, and it will fall in defeat. Coming up at 5:30, I'm going to explain Measure C in San Jose. That's the measure that wants to loosen restrictions on marijuana collectives. It's a controversial and highly debated issue. Daria?
Thanks a lot, James, and stick with KRON 4 and our team for our primary election coverage here in the morning up until 10 a.m. live here on the KRON 4 Morning News. Then you can go to KRON4.com for the results as they pour in. Our app also is a great way to get the very latest breaking election news as it happens, and then you can join our next newscast today at 5 p.m.
And an Oakland woman is behind bars this morning, accused of stabbing a 12-year-old boy during a robbery at an East Bay bank. It happened around 11:30 yesterday morning inside a Wells Fargo on East 14th Street in San Leandro. Investigators say a woman with a knife and a pair of scissors stabbed the boy and then robbed a customer. The boy was sitting in a lobby chair waiting for a relative when he was stabbed. Bank security guards witnessed the incident but didn't try to physically stop the attack.
That they are unarmed, I would assume that company policy is they take a hands-off approach. They are to report incidents and be good witnesses versus put themselves in harm's way and try to go hands-on with somebody who's armed with a knife that they've just watched stab somebody else.
The boy was stabbed in the woman stabbed the boy in the back at least 3 times. San Leandro police arrested 32-year-old Aona Hammond outside. This is her photo. She's charged with attempted murder and robbery, and she's due in court tomorrow. The boy is hospitalized and will need surgery.
A warning on the Stanford University campus after 2 female students woke up to find a strange man in their rooms. The first incident happened early Friday morning. A young woman screamed when she woke up to see a strange man lifting the covers off of her while she was asleep. And then a few hours later, another female student woke up in a different room and she felt someone doing the same thing, pulling at her blankets. That student ran after the man, but he got away. Both of these incidents happened at a student housing on campus Drive East. The dorm rooms were not locked at the time. Students say it's normal for them to leave their doors unlocked, but that's going to change.
I was really scared when I read that, so I've been trying to be like a little bit more careful about locking my doors. I usually didn't lock my doors before, so I was definitely concerned when I read that alert.
The Stanford Public Safety Department is working on creating a sketch of the man. An alleged gang member charged with shooting and killing an Oakland artist says he's not guilty. 21-year-old Marquise Holloway is charged with murder. Airs video of a previous court appearance for him. He's facing multiple charges for the death of Antonio Ramos. Ramos was shot while he was working on a mural under Interstate 580, the overpass there, last September. Police say that the gun used in that killing had been stolen from an Immigration and Customs Enforcement agent in San Francisco. Holloway's due back in court next month.
And drought news, Californians beat mandatory water conservation targets for the month of April. The State Water Resources Control Board just announcing that the average Californian used 77 gallons of water a day in April. That's down more than 26% compared to water usage in 2013. The state is now lifting mandatory conservation for areas that prove they have enough water to get by if the drought lasts another 3 years. Northern California is in good shape after having near average rainfall this past winter, but 60% of the state is still in a drought.
Time now is 5:22 and still ahead. San Jose police say they're making or close to making arrests in connection with the violent protests that happened outside a Donald Trump rally in San Jose. We'll have the latest. And next, Father's Day is coming up. If you're looking for that perfect gift, there are some apps for that. We'll look at them after the break. If you are looking for a perfect Father's Day gift, there are apps out there for that. The first one is called Giftagram. Once you find the perfect gift, the app sends a text to your dad and then works with him to figure out the best time and place to deliver the gift. So I guess you already have to have the gift for that. And then there's also the app Artifact Uprising. That app takes photos from your computer or tablet and turns them into a keepsake. So if your dad is the sentimental type that wants a picture. And then finally, iTunes has a feature that allows you to send a song or album to your dad. Oh, that's a nice idea. Nice. You can make your dad a mixtape.
There you
Would that be funny?
The best gift of all is just leave your dad alone.
Okay, well, you heard it from a dad right here. That's Sunday, June 19th. Mark your calendars.
Fast. And American Airlines is working to improve its in-flight internet. The world's largest airline signed a deal with the satellite provider Viasat to provide high-speed service to 100 of its newest planes. Viasat was already provides service to United, JetBlue, and Virgin. Its higher speed allows better video streaming on services like Netflix and Amazon. James?
All right, coming up next on the KRON 4 Morning News, voters in California will head to the polls in about an hour and a half from right now, and there are a number of important propositions and measures on the ballot today that you need to know about. I'll walk you through some of them.
Plus, the Cincinnati Zoo is set to reopen its gorilla exhibit today after a 3-year-old boy fell into the enclosure. The new feature is designed to prevent any future incidents. Ahead.
And a look at lunchtime temperatures for you. A little bit on the chilly side, even the East Bay shoreline, lower 70s as we struggle to get some sunshine action. And here I have your forecast and plenty more ahead on KRON 4 Morning News.
Welcome back, 5:30. Want to get you caught up on weather and traffic, and we'll get to traffic in a minute because it's still nice and early out there. Let's talk weather first.
Yeah, we're going to have some little drizzle and low-lying clouds to deal with at first around the peninsula and so forth, but we'll see some clearing into the afternoon, particularly down the South Bay, San Jose, getting those temperatures in the early afternoon into the lower 80s, you can see, all the way to 6 o'clock, 78. Poll closing time, you can see temperatures still above 70. Do have a bit of a breeze, though, we should note, about 10 to 20 on that. For the Giants game today versus the Red Sox, 7:15 game time. Temps holding pretty much upper 50s. We do have that wind, too, out of the southwest, 15 to 25, and that may provide a bit of a chill. And our forecast today, by noon, we're still cloudy at the coast, working on clearing in the bay. Warm inland, it looks like, by 3 o'clock, with temperatures there pretty much 85, the bay at around 70, and about 5 o'clock, cool at the coast and the bay, with temperatures 68 to 83. Here's Robin checking into your traffic update.
And it's slow and crowded at the Bay Bridge Toll Plaza, Dave. It's picking up and filling in quickly at the pay gates. A lot of headlights here heading into San Francisco. It's already backed up beyond 880. It is all the way out to West Grand, but smooth up the New Eastern Span and smooth on the Suspension. No problems into downtown. It's just backing up here on the Oakland side approaching the toll plaza. No problems across the Golden Gate. It's still at the limit in both directions. And remember, if you travel through Half Moon Bay, 92 one-way traffic control remains in place at Main Street. Crews are dealing with a down pole and wires. No major delays getting through, just a minor slowdown, and so far no estimated time of clearing. I'll take a look at the San Mateo Bridge coming up in my next report. Mark, Daria.
All right, thank you. And more decision news here on this primary day. James Fletcher keeping track of the propositions.
Yeah, so he's going to be with us all morning long looking at different propositions that you will see on the ballot. Let's look at Measure C. James?
Yeah, this is the measure in San Jose. It's called the City of San Jose Medical Marijuana Regulation Act, and it would, in essence, lighten restrictions on the operation of collectives. So if you vote yes on this, you would replace the city's current medical marijuana ordinance with less restrictive ones. So what does that mean? Well, in short, this measure would allow pot clubs in more city zones, potentially bringing them closer to schools. It would also lower the level of criminal background checks for employees and eliminate the requirement for fingerprinting. A no vote is a vote to maintain the current regulations. So that's something to mull over as you head to the polls. Coming up at 5:45, I'm going to walk you through Measure G. That's in San Mateo County. It's a new tax to help fund police and fire services, and I'll break that one down for you as well. Daria?
Thanks a lot, James, and stick with Crown 4. Our team has election coverage all morning long here on the Crown 4 Morning News up until 10 a.m. After our show, you should stay connected with Crown through our mobile app, or if you're at the computer at crown4.com, and then tune in to the 5 p.m. newscast tonight and all the later shows as those election results start coming in.
And San Jose police are still investigating the violence that happened outside a Donald Trump rally in downtown San Jose last week. Investigators are reviewing witness statements and taking a look at video evidence from last Thursday. Here's video from the demonstrations. At least 4 people were taken into custody after the protests got out of control outside of the San Jose Convention Center. One officer was even assaulted. Police say they expect to make more arrests soon. They're also asking people to come forward if they were assaulted or injured during the rally so they can find the people responsible.
The Cincinnati Zoo is expected to reopen its gorilla exhibit today. It has been closed since late last month when a 3-year-old boy fell into the enclosure and was dragged by this 450-pound endangered gorilla. And this video went viral. Minutes after it happened, zoo workers immediately they shot and killed the gorilla. Zoo officials say the exhibit now has a higher barrier with solid wood beams and rope netting. An Ohio prosecutor says the boy's mother will not face charges. A witness told our CNN partners that the boy's mother was temporarily distracted by other children when her son fell into the exhibit. Both the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Association of Zoos and Aquariums are investigating what happened.
And 5 East Bay mayors are taking action to prevent growing violence along freeways that run through their cities. There have been close to 30 shootings along Interstate 80 and Highway 4 since last fall. Mayors from Hercules, El Cerrito, Pinole, San Pablo, and Pittsburgh met with state officials to talk about the problem. The goal of the meeting was to see what the state is doing to make sure freeways in the area are safer.
That's the main thing right now, is finding a solution and then finding out how much it costs so we can get it back before the state so that they can fit it into their budget.
The district attorney's office is working with a task force to develop a plan for installing high-definition cameras, shot spotter technology, and license plate readers along Interstate 80 and Highway 4. Caltrans officials say they are willing to pay for the equipment if the state approves the funding.
Happening today, local police chiefs are holding a meeting to talk about ways to reduce crime. Charles H. Ramsey, who is the co-chair of President Obama's task force on 21st century policing, is going to be there giving the recommendations. Ramsey is also the former commissioner of the Philadelphia Police Department. He's going to talk about the best practices for effective crime reduction while building public trust. The meeting is this morning in Walnut Creek starting at 8 a.m. San Francisco Supervisor Mark Farrell is introducing a new plan to reduce homelessness in the city. At today's Board of Supervisors meeting, he's going to introduce legislation that calls on the city's new Department of Homelessness and Supportive Housing to create a 5-year plan. He says that homelessness is a major issue and the city needs a long-term plan to reduce it.
And community members in one East Bay city are planning a demonstration today in the wake of an oil train derailment in Oregon. Here's video of the derailment and fire last Friday. And now a protest is planned in Benicia today to protest the oil trains that roll through the town. Organizers say they're trying to prove that the trains are too dangerous to be in any community. The demonstration starts at 5:45 this evening at the corner of East 2nd and Military Streets. And coming up at the Crown 4 Morning News, today would have been Prince's 58th birthday. We'll take a look at the ceremonies that are planned to remember the late music legend. Plus,
over the weekend, several of Mark Zuckerberg's social media accounts were hacked. If this can happen to the CEO of Facebook, can it happen to you? Yeah, it can. I'm tech reporter Gabe Slate. Coming up on Cron 4 News, I'll show you a couple easy ways to protect your social media accounts.
And after the break, the Playboy Mansion has been sold. Find out who's buying the estate and find out what's going to happen to Hugh Hefner. And we'll have a look here to the Bay Bridge. A lot of fog and low clouds and drizzle, and we have a big backup already at 5:36 on this Tuesday morning, Election Tuesday.
Welcome back to the Cron 4 Morning News. No major problems for the Nimitz Freeway right now. Just a little bit of a slowdown heading south of 238, rolling through Hayward. The commute on 580 looks great through Castro Valley. No problems for Oakland. 580 out of San Leandro into Oakland also looking good. Maybe you want to get over to the San Mateo Bridge this morning. There is some stop and go traffic just west of the toll plaza. A little crowded, but overall a nice ride heading to the peninsula. I'll have a complete traffic check coming up in a few minutes. Mark?
All right, thank you, Robin. Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion is about to have a new owner, the billionaire businessman who lives next door. Darren Metropolis' bid to buy Hefner's Los Angeles man cave is in escrow. Both sides declined to reveal the price until escrow closes, but the home was originally listed for $200 million. Terms of the sale allow the 90-year-old Hugh Hefner to live in the mansion for the rest of his life. After that, Metropolis plans to merge the two properties, creating a 7.3-acre compound. Metropolis bought his current home from Hefner in 2009 for $18 million. Metropolis, he owns Pabst Brewing Company.
For your health, that makes me think Schlemiel Schlemazel, by the way. And that wasn't Pabst. Laverne and Shirley?
Oh, yeah, what was that? I don't remember. Pabst is Blue Ribbon. So now you've got beer and Playboy just merging
James?
together.
Somebody? Really? Laverne and Shirley? Nobody knows the beer? Come on.
We'll Google
Think,
it right
people.
Now.
Okay. For your health this morning, a high-fat Mediterranean diet, not a low-fat diet, is how you lose weight, as we check on our favorite beer. Shots, right? Remember that? Schlemiel Schlemazel. Okay, so forget the low-fat is what they're saying. This is the, at least that's the newest study that we found. They say the Mediterranean diet is the way to go. It's heavy on vegetables, legumes, fish, fruit, nuts, and whole grains. And they say that resulted in the most weight loss in the people in the study. Those who followed the Mediterranean diet and used extra virgin olive oil instead of butter did even better in this. And I'm assuming they didn't drink any kind of beer or shots, whatever, Pabst Blue Ribbon.
That looks good, though. Maybe some wine. All right, here's some of the stories we're working on for the Cron 4 Morning News at 6. Breaking news out of the Middle East, a deadly terror attack in Turkey. We have the latest images coming into the newsroom ahead.
And Donald Trump, his hat that you see here, it's causing controversy for a third grader in Fresno. Why he is being told he can't wear that hat to school.
And a monkey breaks into a jewelry store and it's caught on camera. See what he got away with.
Does he have pierced ears?
Maybe it was 3 months worth of bananas for the ring, I guess, anyway. At the polls, when you go off to Oakland, it looks like by 7 a.m. we'll have those temperatures well in the business of the lower 60s or so, struggling to get some sunshine out here. Should happen in the early afternoon, about 70. Polls closing, we'll see temperatures falling well in the 60s. Stay close. Cron 4 Morning News continues.
5:44, a quick look at the top stories we're following. It's primary day in California, but Hillary Clinton has already secured the number of delegates needed to become the nominee. But Bernie Sanders is still vowing to win California and says he will assess his campaign after today.
We are now learning that the man who shot 2 Fremont police officers last week took his own life during that standoff with the police. The Alameda County Coroner's Office says that Gerard Villabrie shot himself in the head. One of the 2 officers who was shot is still in critical condition. The other one is improving.
And the Sharks could not get it done at home last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They trailed the entire game and weren't able to get onto the board until the third period. The Sharks lose this game 3-1, and they're now down in the series 3-1. The next game is in Pittsburgh on Thursday.
And at 5:45, let's check in with Robin and see how your commute is going to be if you're just about to hop in the car.
It's not too bad, but I've spotted a couple of slow spots. The Bay Bridge ride into San Francisco and the East Shore Freeway. The Bay Bridge, of course, let's start off with that. A lot of headlights here approaching the toll plaza. It's already backed up to West Grand. No problems on the span. It's just commute time. It's jammed right through the tolls and moves well, though, across the upper deck. Even the 880 overcrossing, that's picking up, too, but it's less than 20 minutes from the Maze to the Skyway. All right, checking your ride on the San Mateo Bridge. It's crowded here on the flat section, but it's still a nice ride coming out of Hayward heading to the peninsula. I don't see any major problems to add to this slow traffic, so it'll be about 16, 17 minutes from 880 over to 101. A little bit of a slowdown here at the Richmond-Santa Fe Bridge. Nothing to worry about. It's minor, mostly in the cash lanes. It's been backing up off and on, but overall a great ride heading into the North Bay. Now the East Shore Freeway, this incident just popped up westbound 80 at Appian. A motorcyclist spun out on the shoulder. One lane may be blocked. The sensors show that traffic is backing up just a tad there approaching the scene. So I'll keep an eye on it. It's not causing a major delay, but it just bumped up that drive time to 16 minutes now from Hercules to the Oakland Maze. More drive times for you. 580 West looking good. The Nimitz heading north, no major problems. And coming out of the South Bay, if you are a 280 commuter, northbound traffic, it's in pretty good shape. 11 minutes from 101 heading up to the 85 split in Cupertino. Dave?
Okay, thank you, Robin. Good morning, everybody. And just a live check with our temperatures, still in the business of the upper 50s for the most part. Do have 60 already for San Jose. It looks like 59 Concord and 57 for Santa Rosa. But negotiating through quite a bit of low-lying cloudiness. You can see at SFO, and that'll be the case throughout most of the Bay Area, although we will be seeing some clearing happening for the East Bay shoreline. It'll be a little slow going along the peninsula today. We do have the onshore flow in place, so all the regular players are here, and that's going to provide a little bit of a breeze, which means kind of on the cool side, and that's going to be particularly in the morning hours. But even in the afternoon, they pick up, as you can see, the 5 o'clock commute home into the mid-teens. You can see over the East Bay particularly, and that will linger overnight to tomorrow morning. These blues popping up, you see, that's the higher wind gusts that are at work. It's not enough for any wind advisory, but it is somewhat elevated, worth noting. We don't see the warm up either because of all of this. Look at the big bite taken out of the Sacramento Valley with seeing those 90s not appearing on our map, as has been the case the last 4 days or so. The cool down again tonight, and look for tomorrow. It's less warm as well, as we see the 80s now starting to retreat, giving way to more 70s and chilly 60s for highs to be found along the East Bay shoreline. Highs today, let's send you to the peninsula, at the coast, mid 60s again. Lots of low-lying clouds, drizzle hanging here. 73 for San Mateo. Heading further to the south, in the South Bay, our numbers pretty much mid 80s. Forget about the 90s. In the 7-day forecast, we see the temperatures decline all the way into the weekend. 78 going on by your TGIF. Mark and Daria.
All right, thank you, Dave. And more decision news. Team coverage of the California primary today.
James Fletcher keeping track of all the major propositions and measures that you will see today on the ballot. And he joins us with a look now at Measure G. James?
Measure G. Yeah, this is the Measure G that's on the San Mateo County ballot. It calls for the approval of an annual parcel tax of about $65 for 4 years. And the goal is to fund police and fire safety services in the county's service area number 1. Now, that area includes unincorporated San Mateo Highlands, Baywood Park, and Baywood Plaza. So this is just for those residents. This tax has been in place since 1982. Voting yes would renew it like they did 4 years ago. Voting no, however, would let that tax expire at the end of this month. So that's what a no vote means on that. Coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm going to tell you about Measure M in Contra Costa County. Its goal is to raise money for public safety and gang prevention programs in Pittsburgh, an area where we've seen freeway shootings along Highway 4. Mark?
And today has been declared Prince Day in Minnesota. The declaration marks what would have been the artist's 58th birthday. Prince died last month from an accidental overdose of painkillers. Today, fans across the globe plan to celebrate Prince's contributions to the world of music, from a dance party in Minneapolis to an official 58th birthday celebration in Dublin, Ireland.
Helen Chavez, the widow of civil rights and labor leader Cesar Chavez, has died. She was 88 years old. She died yesterday at a hospital in Bakersfield. She was surrounded by family. They didn't give the cause of death. She met Cesar Chavez in the mid-1940s, and they got married in 1948. In the early 60s, the couple left a comfortable middle-class existence in East Los Angeles to organize farm workers in California's Central Valley.
And a video here of a rescue in Contra Costa County. It happened on Saturday when a hiker passed out in the trail. There you see the rescue crews being lowered down to help that hiker. This hiker passed out on that trail in Lafayette, and the Contra Costa County Fire Protection District and the Sheriff's Department responded. The victim had life-threatening heat stroke symptoms. A Sheriff's Department helicopter and the deputies lifted that victim and took them to an ambulance and then to the hospital. No word on how that hiker's doing this morning.
Southern California beaches closed again today after several large sharks were spotted yesterday afternoon. We showed them to you here on the KRON 4 Morning News. This is the beach that they closed on Sunday as well. A 1-mile stretch of shoreline at Sunset Beach in Huntington Beach was closed down all yesterday. 5 hours after, the beach then reopened and they had to close it again. Lifeguards saw 3 more sharks there yesterday. They were about 12 feet long. The sightings come just a week after a swimmer was attacked by a shark about 15 miles away from Huntington Beach. She is expected to survive.
And several high-profile social networking accounts have been hijacked by hackers in recent months, including accounts that belong to Drake, Jack Black, and Mark Zuckerberg. And if the CEO of Facebook can be hacked, you might be wondering whether your accounts are safe. Our tech reporter Gabe Slay takes a look at easy ways to protect your social media accounts.
A lot of these recent social media hackings have been blamed on LinkedIn's security breach in 2012, where up to 117 million usernames and passwords were stolen. So let's start there. If you have a LinkedIn account, just to be safe, change the password. Next, I know this is a major pain in the wazoo, but the best way to be safe is every 6 months, change your important passwords. And those passwords all need to be different. Don't use the same one for more than one account. And do not reuse old ones. The longer a password is out there in existence, tied to you, the better the chance it could be discovered. Okay, I realize what a chore that all is, so let's talk about password managers. Like LastPass or Dashlane, these services offer a way to unlock all your websites or apps with one password. They store all your passwords. You only need to know one master password. The downside to this method is if your master password is stolen, this gives hackers access to your entire digital life. Moving on, give yourself a fighting chance. Don't ever use free public Wi-Fi hotspots without using a secure connection VPN. These are free apps like SecureLine by Avast. They are easy to use. They will make sure your connection is encrypted when you're using public Wi-Fi. This works with mobile devices and laptops. Last thing, I've been using this site for the last 2 years and I've had a good experience with it. It's called Have I Been PWNED. It's a play on the word owned, as if you've been owned, compromised, hacked. This site is run by cybersecurity experts who monitor all the data breaches that happen. If your email is exposed in a breach, they will inform you, basically tipping you off to change your password. With the LinkedIn breach, this website emailed me a day before LinkedIn did to tell me that I was one of the accounts hacked. With your tech report, Gabe Slate, KRON 4 News.
Coming up on the KRON 4 Morning News, more backlash after a former Stanford swimmer was sentenced to 6 months in jail instead of 6 years for sexually assaulting an unconscious woman. Now there's a push to remove the judge. We'll tell you about that. Plus, after the break, 2 Giants players are trading in their gloves today and trying out their skills as baristas. Can they make a good cup of coffee? Check this out. You could be in for a giant surprise or a Giants surprise if you get a cup of coffee at Pete's today. Javier Lopez and Denard Span from the San Francisco Giants are going to be brewing coffee and making up lattes, I guess, at a location in San Francisco today. They'll be serving up the 2016 Giants Clubhouse blend. So it's a unique Latin dark roast with spicy, lively notes and a long, balanced finish. You can catch these special guest baristas from noon to 1 today. Okay, so here's where you need to go. Lopez will be at the Pete's on Chestnut Street near Steiner. Span will be at the Pete's in the Ferry Building.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brewing coffee at noon, playing the Red Sox at 7. Pretty good day.
That's plenty of time.
Yeah. All right, the Super Bowl champs met with President Obama, the Denver Broncos, in Washington yesterday to visit the White House and meet the president. The president congratulated them on winning Super Bowl 50 at Levi's Stadium. He also made a few friendly jokes about the team's former quarterback.
And then there's this guy from the commercials. Doesn't matter whether you need insurance, pizza, Buick. You basically can stock your whole household with stuff this guy's selling.
It's pretty true.
But he also did some Omaha stuff to joke, you know,
did.
Omaha, Obama, Omaha. Yeah.
The Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers 24-10 in Super Bowl 50. Peyton Manning announces retirement just after that.
Coming up on the KRON 4 Morning News, it's primary day in California, and KRON 4 has you covered. We have team coverage out live today.
Yeah, reporters all around the Bay Area to get you prepared to head to the polls this morning. Stay with us. The KRON 4 Morning News will be right back.